All right, we're gonna try to kick it up a notch on the WISPER wash here. I run a 10 gallon a minute, 3,000 PSI. As you can see, there's about 15 pounds of weight on this thing alone. Love this one. Gets around little places like on all my residentials and so forth. So everybody needs a wheelless, small little one, but the performance sometimes just isn't there. What I'm gonna do next is take this hydro gun, which is 1/2 inch fittings. You got the 1/2 inch that we're gonna put here. Gonna recrimp it. On the back end, we have an adapter with a little bushing here and a fitting, so this can go through here like this. And then we gotta reposition our holes here. All right, we'll see how it turns out. All right, now, I had to manipulate this a little bit because this here was higher, so I ground this out a little bit, gave this a little bit of a bend. Now we got our high flow handle on it now. Now remember all those pressure washers we bought back in the day and they gave us those 50-foot useless hoses? Well, now this is where it plays in the hand. You get a nice little swivel on the end. I can make up a new hose here. We're gonna crimp this on next. All right, now we came over to our crimper. We crimped it. We got a real nice 3/8 by 1/2 inch NPT because that's what our gun is. Let's walk over to the gun and let's install this on the surface cleaner. All right, we got it all together now. You see here, shit, dripping in my box. We have our gun set up with a nice crimp on here. We have some nice clamps. Coming over to our surface cleaner here. Now, what really makes this surface cleaner come alive is the spray bar, all right? I'm gonna show you this here. Let me flip this upside down. All right, this is a Mosmatic spray bar. Stainless steel, a lot lighter than spinning this Lincoln log, okay? Inside here, we all know it's like a hurricane, all right? What do you think is cutting all that air and water better and more efficient? This big bar here or this bar? Now, just to let you know what size tips I have on these. These here are, I don't know if you can see it. Try to focus it in here. These are 40/08s. So that means you should basically have so 2/8 is 16, like a 17 gallon a minute pressure washer. I have a 10 gallon a minute. And these work great. There's a science to nozzles, all right? No one can say off the bat, every machine's different, everything's plumbed different, unloaders, bypassing the reels. When you put 225 degrees in it, pressure builds up and this thing really starts to sing. There is a scientific fact how to set up spray nozzles. And I'll show you that shortly. All right, this is my machine here. It's fuel injected with an Udor pump. Now this one here is gonna actually go through the burner. We're not gonna run the burner tonight. But this is what I'm talking about, okay? How you actually make your nozzles work correctly. When I run this machine, it's gonna be about 2,900 PSI, okay? Now, if you put too large of a nozzle, the pump cannot keep up. It'll be around 2,700. If you put too small of a nozzle, now we're not talking about spray pattern, we're talking about the 40/08s. The 40 means a spray pattern, 08 means 8 gallons a minute, okay? If you put too large of a nozzle on, the pump cannot keep up and you'll be at around 2,700 PSI and the unloader kicks off around 3 and the pump can't keep up. That means nozzles are too big, okay? Now, if your nozzles are too small, it's gonna hit the 3,000 PSI, the unloader is gonna start to dump, and that means you have too much back pressure and the nozzles are too small. You wanna get that sweet spot. You want about 2,900 PSI. Now, normally on my surface cleaner, you would say, okay, it's a 10 gallon a minute machine, and the nozzle should be like 40.06s, right, for 12 gallons, because they say 10-gallon machine, 12-gallon nozzles. But at that point, I'm actually starting to peak out and my unloader's opening up. So I have 40.08s, which is 16 gallons a minute. And I'm gonna start it up. It's gonna be very loud. So I'm just gonna show you where we're at, and I'll show you how much water is coming out of this pressure, out of this surface cleaner. Now you gotta remember, I also have like 15 pounds of weight on it, and I'm running my whip here through the reel. Normally I bypass the reel and we go right into here. Okay, so we're going through the reel. We're not using any heat. We got about 300 foot of hose. We got 1/2 inch hose first and 3/8. Normally, I go 3/8 right into here, and the heat's on, which is also kicking up the pressure. So let me start it up, and I'm going to show you where the pressure gauge is when I have the surface cleaner pulled. Always want to let your machine idle for a minute, and then crank it on up. All right, now take a look at this. See, it wants to float right up. Let's take a look at this windstorm. That's a lot of water coming out of here. All right, now watch. The 40-degree tips I like because it goes right to the skirts. You see how it goes right to the skirt? That's what I like. Plus, you don't have to worry about it etching the concrete. Now let's go to our gauge and let's see where it's at. Let me let it idle down and then we'll shut it off. Now you notice when I pulled the handle, you heard the pump come on, you heard the motor lug, and we're right around 2,900 PSI. All right, like I said, larger nozzles, the motor couldn't keep up. Two small nozzles, it's gonna hit the 3,000. Unloader's gonna open up. So when it comes to nozzles, yes, there is a perfect way to set up your surface cleaner. It's not one nozzle does everything. It all depends on your setup. Surface cleaner hose, high flow gun. But if you have a gauge here, gauges don't lie, and it makes sense. Nozzle's too small, builds up too much pressure, kicks the unloader. Nozzle's too big, motor cannot keep up. All right, guys. Hope this helps you out. Keep on spraying.